Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 5 of the Traders Podcast here at Courage Pays Better Than Fear Trading. I am your host, Jeremy Ritz. Very excited to be with you today. And the topic on today's show is, how do you deal with losing in trading? Because one of the reasons why most people quit trading, they give up, is because losing is part of the process. And in fact, it is said in many trading circles that in order to be a successful, profitable trader, you have to become a good loser. So we're going to talk about all of that here in episode number 5. I'm excited to do all of that with you here today. But just want to thank everybody for the support through the first 4 episodes as I'm kicking off my brand new business, Courage Pays Better Than Fear Trading. It's all about education, teaching people how to trade the markets. And, you know, as an educator, former educator, I was a teacher in my past life, assistant principal. There's something deep inside me that I have a need to teach. And to be able to teach people my passion, which is trading and investing, it's the best thing ever. So if you're interested in learning how to trade, I can help you with that. Please direct message me on Facebook, or you can connect with me via email at couragepaysbetter@gmail.com. Let me know. Let's connect. And I want to give a shout out to everybody who's participating so far in the boot camp this week. We did night 1 last night. So depending on when you're watching this, but shout out to all of you for committing yourselves to learning the basics, the fundamentals of trading and investing. And I can't wait to hear all of the successes that you guys experience once you begin your journey. And so let's get into it. Number 5, the big L, losing. We hate losing. I hate losing. I'm sure you hate losing. Think of a moment in your life, whether it was a sporting event, something that you were competing in, and you lost. Or maybe you watch sports, professional sports on TV, and your team lost. That's not a good feeling. It sucks, right? Let's just be completely candid. It does not feel good at all. We are genetically predisposed to want success. We want to win. We want to be the first place winner, the first place competitor. But we all know the reality in life is we're never going to be first place all the time. We're not even going to be second place all the time, third, fourth, or fifth place. There are going to be times when we fail, right? And I'm sure you could think back on your life when you were pursuing a goal and you fell flat on your face and you had those moments where you thought to yourself, how in the world am I ever going to do this, right? I know that I've had several of them. In fact, going back to when I was in education, I applied multiple times before I became an assistant principal. And then to become a principal, I went through several interviews and was told no. And it was hard to hear that because I practiced, I prepared, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter what I did. It didn't matter what I put into it. It's the natural outcome sometimes that we are not going to get what we want, right? To quote that great Rolling Stones classic, you can't always get what you want. It's so true. But if you keep persisting and pushing, you will eventually get what you want. I eventually did become high school principal. Very grateful for that opportunity. But then I went on to try and become a superintendent. And I made it through the first round of interviews, was feeling very good. Made it to that second interview and stopped short there. I failed. I didn't meet my goal. Now, thankfully, I didn't. But I share these examples with you because when we're challenging ourselves and we're putting ourselves out there, we're taking risks, we're opening ourselves up to failure. We're making ourselves vulnerable. And that's okay, because that's where true growth is going to come. Now, when we take this into the markets when we're trading, I would be completely lying to you if I were to say that, oh, it's all sunshine and roses, you're going to win every trade, you're not going to lose any money. That's just not true. That's not how it works, because it's simply mathematics, right? For every winner that you have, you're going to have a loser. Vice versa. For every loser that you have, you're going to have a winner. And you have to be willing to experience those losses in order for you to break through and get on the other side of big wins. And I'll go back to one of the biggest losses that I had early on in my trading career. And it was because of a dumb move on my part. It was because of lack of discipline. And for every trade that you're taking, you should have what is known as a protective stop loss. And basically what that ensures is that if the trade reverses against you and pulls back, let's say that you're going bullish, you'll get stopped out of the trade for an amount of money you are comfortable with losing. Now, this particular trade, my risk was set at $500, but because I was a bonehead and I didn't want to give in to the fact that this trade wasn't working out and that I was wrong, what did I do? In my rookie brain, I removed my stop loss. And I learned a painful lesson that day, and that was to the tune of $7,000. And as a beginning trader, when you have a loss like that, it can really rock you and make you question yourself as to, can I really do this? Am I really cut out for trading? And I remember having a conversation with Edmund when this happened. I was like, dude, I just lost 7K. What in the world am I going to do? And what he said to me still resonates with me today. And he said, look, this is entrepreneurship. If you can't handle losing, then maybe this isn't for you. And he said, this isn't going to be the only time that you ever lose a trade or that you have a losing business deal. It's part of it. And you either are okay with that, you embrace that and understand that your big winners are going to come, or you can give up. And so that was a turning point for me. And also an opportunity for me to understand that I needed to follow my trading plan. I needed to be disciplined. And had I have just followed my trading plan in that moment, I only would have lost $500, not $7,000. So that's one of the things, just getting down to some of the technicals in trading, that a lot of your losses, you can control and minimize them. I told you an example right there. Because I lacked discipline, because I let my ego take charge and not accept the fact that I lost, then I lost $6,500 more, right? But there are other strategies that you can employ to ensure that when you do have a winning trade, you can adjust it so that if it does pull back, you could still come out of that trade profitable. But ultimately, what it comes down to is mindset. And trading, this is just the reality. The majority of trading, I would say 85 to 90% is all mental. It's all between your ears. And having that mindset to know that, hey, I'm going to lose trades, but this doesn't mean that I'm a terrible trader. This does not mean that I don't know what I'm doing. This doesn't mean that I should go try and do something else, or I should go back to my W-2 job. That's not what it means. All that it is information for you to study and to learn from, so that when you're back in that particular situation, because the beautiful thing about the markets is patterns repeat themselves over and over and over again. And if you're able to recognize those patterns and study your trades, if it's a trade that you made a mistake on before with a particular pattern and that pattern comes up again, well, guess what? If you're putting in the work and you're studying and you're practicing, when you get that opportunity again, you're going to do better. And maybe you don't win that trade, but maybe you lose smaller. And that's where the practice and becoming a student of the markets is so important. And I always preach to students that I work with that the markets are going to reward you based on what you put into them. The more time and effort you put into studying and learning, the more that you're going to be rewarded. Because the markets in trading and investing, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme, right? It's a way for you to lose a lot of money right away, but you have to give yourself time to gradually build yourself up and be successful in this arena. And so my advice to any of you out there starting trading is accept the fact that you will lose. And that if you cannot comfortably lose and accept that it's going to be a part of this process, then trading is not going to be for you, because you have to have resiliency. You have to have the ability to get knocked down and then pick yourself back up and say, all right, I lost today. All right, let's get back at it tomorrow. And think about, to continue with the sports analogy here, if you think about the NFL or Major League Baseball or the NHL or the NBA, whatever you like to watch, right, or play, how often do you have undefeated teams? In the NFL, there were 2 undefeated teams in the regular season, the Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots. The Patriots went on to lose the Super Bowl, so they didn't finish the entire season undefeated. I don't believe it's ever happened in any of the other leagues, because losing is part of any competition. Has Tom Brady ever lost a game or a Super Bowl? Yeah. And you can think of superstar athletes that we can name here. Have they ever lost games? Have they ever lost playoff games, championships? Yeah. Did they quit? Say, oh, I'm just not good at this. I guess I got to do something else. No. So it's all mindset. You have to embrace losing, but most importantly, you have to learn from it. You have to study your losses. You got to study your wins too, but you have to know what were those decisions that you made that led to that loss. And sometimes it's not going to be anything that you did wrong. Sometimes you could have the perfect trade set up, but it just didn't work out in that moment. And there's a statistic out there that I wanted to talk about here today, and it's that it's cited oftentimes, and it's that 1% of day traders are successful, right? 1%. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, 1% of the American population is successful in day trading. Well, there are almost 400 million people in the US. So I was thinking, how many principals are there in the US? There's about 100,000, which is less than 1%. And how many of those 100,000 are actually successful principals? Debatable how many of them are. But there are fewer successful principals than there are day traders. And the reason I point that out is don't let those statistics throw you off or discourage you, because what that represents is the masses, the majority. And what it comes down to is, do you have the discipline, the work ethic, and the persistence to push through and to not give up on your dream to become a profitable trader and investor? Because to succeed in this game, the people who don't quit, no matter what happens, they get back up, they study, they practice, they get back up, they study, they practice some more, they get back up, and do that over and over and over, and who are patient, those are the people who are successful in this game. And you can make it happen too, but you have to get good at losing. And I want to share this last piece with you here to close up episode number 5. So I shared that $7,000 loss. There was also this other example this past July where I was up 110K on about a $25,000 trade. So I invested 25,000, was up 110, and I was holding for more. Now, I was carrying it over into the next day, into market close, and I thought that this thing was going to run even higher and I'd have an even bigger profit. And there was a moment before the market closed where I said to myself, Jeremy, you should at least take enough profit out to pay for the trade and to pocket a little bit of profit. I didn't do that. And I held the trade. And what was $110,000 in profit, the very next day, that 25 that I had as my initial investment was down to $15,000. So I went from having $110 in profit to actually losing $10,000 on that $25,000 investment, right? It happens. Did I learn a lesson from that? You're darn right. Was it a costly one? 100%. Have I made that up and then some since then? 100%. But the reason why I share that with you is because as you grow in trading and investing, your wins become bigger, your targets become bigger, and yes, your losers become bigger. But you understand that this is part of the process. And this is what has to happen in order for me to continue to get better, to be a profitable trader, and to enjoy financial freedom and time freedom to be able to do whatever you want on your own terms. And so that's episode 5, the psychology of losing. Enjoyed talking to you about that today, sharing my story with you guys. If you're watching, let me hear about your trading losses in the comments below. Put those down there. Would love to connect with you. Please share with your family and friends. Subscribe to the channel. Check out the other podcasts that Emmett and I do. Courage Pays Better Than Fear. Give us a like. And I will see you back here for episode number 6 of the Traders Podcast at Courage Pays Better Than Fear. Take care, everyone.